Yo, Craig,
Yeah, mid rocking out.
rocking it out.
You're rocking out with R- Ghost of Rocktardia and Dr. Mumbles Rock Undertone. McFurry Furry
Yeah,
McFurry Beast, the
McFurry.
turd.
Mm,
We got fresh routers. We got
fresh wrappers.
we got
And,
slower Wi-Fi's. 100%.
fresh.
Goddamn, 100% more muffle.
Yes, yes,
More is less is more.
yes.
I'm exhausted, man. I
Yeah,
enjoyed watching your video. I think that mystery vegetable that you got in the number two box from the farmer's market, I think it's an eggplant. I think it's a retarded eggplant.
you think that's an eggplant? Yeah, that's the only thing I could think of too. But like the inside, it doesn't. You break one open, it's like I don't know. It doesn't look like an eggplant at all. It's like
Maybe
solid. It's like a
maybe
big
it's
apple,
Big
like
Apple.
an onion or something.
Oh,
I
well,
don't know.
maybe it's like a navel eggplant,
Yeah,
like a, na-
maybe.
like a navel orange, and you cut those open. You look at how retarded. It's just a retarded orange. I don't know why
Yeah.
they don't just call it that. You, but this is the number two box. Man, $25, 5 boxes
Yeah.
of less than show quality. Fruits and vegetables. Fruits too, yeah?
Yeah, there was a couple fruits in there. I had like a thing of strawberries, a couple pears, uh, just little things here and there. I
Uh,
don't really remember. But yeah, it's a bargain, and the stuff is still mostly edible. It's not like
yeah.
it's harvested all at the same time as the regular stuff. It just got imperfections or blemishes, whatever. So,
Well, perfect for,
some stuff has the wormholes and stuff, but that's for the animals. They like that.
yeah, they do. Those are lucky animals. Those are good. It's a good looking group you got there.
Yeah, they seem to be happy. You
Happier
know.
than you.
Well, yeah, they're. I feel bad for them, and I think they feel, empathetic for how bad I feel.
Because all that garbage you're putting into the atmosphere.
Well, yeah, like it's really the weather that does it. Just like that. I don't get sun. I don't really get to see the sun. Like have like any bright shiny days. It usually takes at least noon noon before I get any like full sunlight.
I hear
So
you. There's nothing down here either. There's no sunlight. Every
yes,
year, less and less.
yeah. I
So,
guess the sun is just getting further away.
think it's
Um,
getting further away, do you?
yes, I think the numbers increasing. Uh, so
Yeah.
maybe it's more like a hundred billion miles away, and not 93 billion
Yeah,
miles.
maybe that's what it is. Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe, maybe the stench down here is just getting too strong.
yeah,
It's just backing up.
yeah,
Son. Yeah, why not? Oh man, where are
yeah.
we today? You seem like you had some fire in your belly. You were ready to go. You wanted to address some
Oh yeah,
issues.
I had a whole lot of gusto this morning. I don't know.
It's all gone.
Yeah, it seems like I kind of left it at Lowe's. I went back to Lowe's today.
Ah,
Well, it was they, it's an even exchange, I guess. It's a handoff. I
wait
exchange
for who?
well for both of us. It's I guess I don't know if they get anything out of it. I guess maybe they get to suck my energy out a little bit when I go.
Oh, what Lowe's gets out of you?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you got to have life force going through that big box to
Yeah.
justify keeping it on open.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's energy going into it.
Yeah. So I mean, they take a little bit of energy directly from me while I'm in the store, and then they take a little bit more energy, off the, you know, whatever I'm actually buying.
You know,
That's
but
just more labor and more time, more energy.
yeah, I'm
But
exhausted just thinking about it.
I think I got a little something out of it. I got a few gallons of paint and 4
I see.
cans of spray paint. I go to I go to that shelf where they have all the mist tinted paint. That
Love that shelf.
Yeah, and the trick is to have somebody go the day before and get all the colors, and then do the old abandoned cart, and then usually within the day, within the next day or two, you can get them at like less than
Oh
75%.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
$9 a gallon versus like 35, 40. So
Oh yeah.
it's a big
See,
savings.
this I think is the direction I like to see the Breaking Wind go. We got 7 episodes. Who's counting under our belt?
Yeah.
And I'm always trying to jimmy some sort of practical application for the knowledge that we've gleaned from the abuse that we've taken.
Yeah.
And that's a shining example right there.
How to abuse the system back.
Well, we have to get together. We need to have a think tank get together to figure out how to frame that in a more positive light. But get the system back, set the balance. Yeah, what do? You set the balance back to zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, just you know,
Clean. Yeah. Clean house.
clean house, spit and span, ship shape.
Yes.
A little dab will do you. A little elbow grease and a little
S and S and S and S.
S and S and S and S. Oh, which reminds me, I was takes me right back to your censorship, your
Ah,
YouTube censorship catch and
yeah,
release algorithm bloodhound test system.
yeah.
It's This is something that occurred to me last night while listening to yesterday's show, which was already leaps and bounds better than this one. Point being, you sent out some test material into the algorithmic waters. Did you get
Yeah.
any feedback? Can you describe your experiment to
Well,
test?
it's still kind of early to tell. Statistically, I guess it should at least marinate for 24 hours. But yeah, I have not received anything about cat milking or pussy juice in my news feed yet. So I
I
don't
see,
know.
I see.
It's
So you made
something.
a video shopping for cat milk at a local box store. However, you were not looking for milk for a cat, but milk from a cat.
Yeah,
And we're going to see how YouTube picks up on the audio. What's
and
your what's your experiment?
well, yeah, the just to see if there is anybody behind the wheel, and I don't think their censors would uh, you know allow something like that title, pussy juice, to just slip through unless there was some sort of uh, parallel like cat milk to
So,
bridge the
so,
gap.
so what you're doing is making light. You're setting the the cheese in the trap so that we can tag the beast and follow it
Yeah,
and chart its behavior. I love this idea. Uh,
yeah.
you're
Make
met.
make more work for the system.
This is going back to pre-mixing your paints by way of acquaintances a day or two before you go shop for paints.
Yeah.
See, we're hitting pay dirt now, buddy. The flood of the mud butts did not bury us.
No, not yet. They're trying with all of this
Oh,
rain. With all the rain, they're definitely trying to get the diet.
oh, yes,
We're here to keep them in check and have
yes.
fun.
This all in good fun because, as I see it, we're all family. The same life force that keeps any other living human being tick-tocking around. The same life force inside me. So there's always a sense of fair play.
Yeah,
I'm no longer, and haven't been for quite some time, starstruck by the celebrity and uh, political faces, and understanding now that they're embodiments, charismatic embodiments of what do you call it? Archetypes to generate. I don't know what they're here to do. I don't know what they're doing exactly, but fuck them. Uh, I'm sick of it, and
yeah,
I'm not. I don't have enough energy to be angry because when you're angry,
yeah.
that's
It's very
just
draining.
they get you back. They they snag you back because
They
either
want you. They want you angry because that energy is very powerful for them, and it's easy to generate. So it's like that's like the most efficient way for them to feed off of you. It's through
way participating.
yeah,
Yeah, if
yeah,
you're just oblivious to the rules of engagement and just following the calendar, the holidays, and the sporting events, and the assassinations, and the events.
yeah,
You're participating and fueling the system. If you are irritated enough to do a modicum of investigation into your surroundings and what's going on, then your initial reaction is going to probably be a negative one as you make yourself more aware, and that too is participating in the system. And I think most people would agree with you going to Lowe's is a drain and an irritation.
oh,
Even
absolutely,
what we would call normal people. But those normal people will complain and be ripe for the picking, so to speak, when the next, you know, 30% off coupon comes to them by way of email, because that's how they stick it to the man, is by
yeah,
saving 30%, where they don't understand 30% of whatever's in their wallet or bank account is going to be pulled away from them. So our strategy, as it develops, seems to be a bit more ingenious.
yes. Well, that's just the half of it with Lowe's.
Oh, yes.
I also am going to start taking advantage of their. They're really nice to have all of these plants and shrubs and
Oh,
stuff on
yes.
display outside the store. So like before you even get in the store, you're tripping over shit. But they have quite a plethora of herbs and vegetables and all those trays of
Mm-hmm.
and I think I'm gonna bring my get myself a little trailer and hoard the goats over there and let them Let them crave at it for a little while.
Hey, what can you do?
Yeah,
It's
what
an
would they?
it's an act of God.
Yeah, there's no sign that says no goats allowed.
I never
So
saw one.
no,
They're gonna have to rewrite the rules
yeah,
and set new laws in effect. An event like
right.
that.
Who's responsible in that instance? It's I didn't tell them to eat the stuff. So
It's a very Charlie Manson-esque approach.
yeah, yeah, that was just a quick idea I had. You
That's a
know,
more direct. That's a more
yeah,
direct
it's a little
attack.
more direct.
I wouldn't call it an attack. That's not good language. I have to send that back to the think tank.
Yeah,
What do you call that? Not a think tank where you you uh you test people, you test words and phrases with a group of people. It's product testing. What is it called, Mumbles?
what do you say? Product testing? What do you?
Product testing where you run take for example a catchphrase or a slogan.
Yeah,
McDonald's will run a will hire some kind of agency to do, I don't know what to call it, product testing on different slogans. For
yeah.
example,
It's like what,
instead
marketing
of,
campaigns?
yeah, marketing campaigns, it's like a brainstorming session. It's a think tank. Well,
Fact finding committee?
yeah, it's a committee, some kind of committee, maybe. Well, first, I got to figure out what the words are for this thing. Then we need to get one and
Well,
work on our approach.
yeah. So what is it that you're trying to describe? Is the think tank, and there's a different name for it?
Well, what I was trying to describe is
Like a
product
soft
testing.
release, like a soft release of information to see where it goes, type of thing, or like a disinformation channel type of thing.
No,
Is that what you're saying?
no. It's just it's not even supposed to be nefarious. It's like an advertising committee where you product test, but it's you're not product testing. You're testing slogans and ideas. Like let's say for example, McDonald's has
Yeah.
an advertising campaign. It's going to be one of these long-term things. I don't know what they had before I'm Loving It, but before they released I'm Loving It, they probably had three or four or five different slogans like that that they
Yeah.
fill in the blank tested on a group of willing participants.
Yes.
And there's a term for that
A
process.
a case study. Like
Case study. It is a case study.
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, but yeah, I mean, I mean,
Uh,
this information, I think it all kind of works the same way. They may, release something and then they wait to see what the feedback is.
yeah.
Know
We
what's getting the best result.
we gotta work that we gotta use that idea to put out some cheese into the traps and see if we can tag some of the creatures that take the bait and then follow the algorithm.
Oh,
For
there's
example,
lots of things. Yeah.
so many fun things. I like putting up the title "Pussy Juice." I don't even think algorithm cares much about pussy juice. It'll detect it to make sure that there's probably no nudity, and then there'd probably be what would that trigger? Like some sort of audio visual scan to see if there's sexual activity, and then that would violate the guidelines. But this thing is
I, I mean, I don't know.
the same way they detect music. You used to be able to put your phone up to a speaker when you were listening to music. You didn't know what the name of the song was, and you could
Yeah.
capture the song, and it would identify it, and then you could download it on iTunes. When iTunes first came out, the music recognition software. That's what happened to you with your painting with that Led Zeppelin song in the background and you got a copyright strike or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, but
So,
how do they you know visually inspect the content to see if there's nudity or not? That's what what's deciphering the difference between an ass crack or a hairy taint versus a hairy armpit, just
well, that's what we got to find out. I don't know how they do it, but definitely it's the same thing with facial recognition. It's just you set parameters for what shapes and motions you're looking for, I suppose.
yeah.
I never use these newer apps, but what is it, Snapchat or something like that?
Hmm.
People can put they can put cartoon faces on themselves or
Yeah,
modify
yeah,
their facial features.
right.
That kind of blew my mind when I saw that because I was like, well, 10 years ago that would have been fun, but I've become so crotchety in my perception of why that's available, sort of normalizing this technology and putting it out there. Beta test it, maybe a beta test, or like Pokemon
Yeah,
Go. Pokemon Go is some sort of a dry run for some other sort of thing
yeah,
on how to use the technology. But if we are able to mix the paint days prior to going and purchasing it, allegorically speaking, we can attract attention. For example, if I continue to say something about my new friend Andy Oakes,
uh-huh,
and I just continue to talk about Andy Oakes, Andy Oakes, Andy Oakes, Andy Oakes, Andy Oakes, Andy Oakes,
yeah,
Andy Oakes, Andy Oakes, yeah, and
yeah,
then we start to talk about control of weaponry or something like that. Is
yeah,
one, is that gonna attract an algorithm, and two, is it gonna tr- trigger that algorithm to strike the channel or give a copyright strike? Or, like you said, if you just rock out an acoustic version of Stairway to Heaven and nail it exactly with like Robert Plant back in the day
yeah.
with a drum machine, is that going to be enough? I can't imagine a human being could be that precise. But
Yeah, I don't think so either because like all these algorithms are uh you know fed by human intelligence. So
exactly. So the
how
humans
does
set the parameters.
right? So the computer only knows what it's programmed to do, and that
Exactly.
I'm trying to get at is what are they looking for, and you know I guess the methods they go about finding it.
I think they're not looking for anything specifically. I think the material that they're looking for is sort of the mm, the scapegoat. Like I don't think they really give a shit about sexual content other than just to avoid litigation and things like that, or maybe swamping the servers with too much thing. They certainly don't have the well-being of people's
I
innocent
think
minds
uh,
being destroyed.
more of a conflict of interest because they own the other websites that all of that stuff is on.
Yeah.
So
Well, so
keep
that
this is separate.
so what I think I when you get sort of an aerial view of the landscape, well, it's definitely not to to do good, and it's not going to be simply to protect children or do a gun grab. There's definitely something to be said for like controlling the narrative and just basically silencing any discussion just with a broad stroke. because
Yeah.
you can't, once you get a copyright strike through a music violation, that's sort of that's just sort of the gateway trial run for more intricate detection and uh, it's not just censorship, it's just basically shutting it down. So you're shutting down parts of the narrative you don't want to perpetuate. And who's got the energy to like, I mean, you put up a 30-minute video, but it's blocked
Yeah.
because so you're a victim.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sue.
yeah, so sue them. But
Yes.
the logic's not going to apply, even though they say it's because of copyright infringement. Basically, it's just search and destroy until everyone is kind of a homogen sports watching. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like they want to. Who's they? The system wants consumers that don't challenge the narrative. So you just kind of shut everything down. I mean, that's just kind of that seems to be the game. And
Right.
the hair triggers are always going to be any talk about the human shields with the
Well, my point is that if we overload these machines where they're always being flagged, um, like they're gonna have to adapt their system to meet the demands of the user. I would think.
yeah, but if the demands of the user is so retardedly limited that they don't want they you know what I mean?
Like,
They get used to the rules.
yeah,
The demand is really not there. There's no pushback. Like nobody's pushing back against any sort of real censorship.
yeah. I think it's all just like scare, like a scare tactic. Like it's not.
That's one aspect for sure, right?
Yeah, there's really like I think I said before. There's really nobody in control of the ship. You have all the computers doing all of these things, looking for everything, but
Right.
they're limited based off of what they were programmed to do. And then
Exactly.
if they're not um, like it's not just like a set it and forget it type of system. There needs to be some human in contact on the other end to make sure that that the stuff is working correctly. Otherwise you don't know what you're doing. You just have mountains of data that you don't know what to do with. But
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
I know. I
out,
definitely. They're not pilfering through data looking for information. That's for the normal people out there get that narrative. That's why they get this Snowden character and things like this, so that they're
yeah, that's kind of where.
self censoring, right? So
Yeah,
there's
but
that.
that's like a whole thing. Like where are you going to draw the line, or where do they draw the line? Like they'll they'll let characters like Snowden, which that's a crafted person. It's not a real
Yeah.
event. But like what are they looking to censor? Because I mean, you have the no floor, the no floor stuff. You have the atmospheric electricity harvests. You have the sunspots. You have all the direct energy weapon technology. All that stuff is prevalent and already out there on the internet. I mean, maybe it's not reaching, critical masses, but it's reaching a lot of people, and I don't think that it's like genuine stuff. I think it's just to keep us busy.
Well, yeah, I think that stuff is as true as it may resonate to a certain degree. It always finds its limit. You can see where the logical follow-up questions are never built
Yeah,
upon. For example, I I've not found something that occurred to me is like with the weather. There's some sort of modification going on, but it's not the weather per se. That's one aspect of it. But the derivatives market, it's for some reason at the same time I learned about because of the housing market, where
Yeah.
they would take you take out a loan, they didn't check your finances or your ability to pay the loan back, then they would uh, congeal or whatever, however you say, you put all those loans together into one big entity, then you chop them up
Yeah.
and then and spread them out through the system mathematically. You can't do this without computers and algorithms to crunch these numbers.
Right.
So on one end of it, well, going back to the supposed weather modification, it could be just another numbers scam. Uh, in tandem with whatever fringe benefit comes from accidentally having to dump, giant loads of water in different places, you're obviously going to tie that into insurance, and it's going to weave its way through, um, you know, destroying and rebuilding certain areas.
Yeah.
So it's going to tie into, you know, uh, whatever demolition and reconstruction, but the main meat of the money when this derivatives market thing, when you can make money by betting against yourself, you're creating this system that's not rooted in logic, and to it's designed to create dysfunction
Yeah.
to justify its existence. So on the level of the censorship idea, these I'll just call them like a think tank instead of calling them they. There's a think tank that poops out a result that says this is how the population is going to this percentage of the population is going to respond to this, and that's what we need to move our move the narrative along in this direction for this reason. So we're going to push that out into the public.
Yeah.
Um, um, that is handed probably to someone who's not on a need to know basis, more of a tech guy. Like when the internet was first starting up, a lot of the people that were funding these projects didn't have any understanding how the software worked. They just needed to get the result that they needed. So a lot of goofy guys like us with the
Exactly.
additional
Yeah. So
tech background could design the software, but then the software kind of creates its own uh, existence that justifies itself. And like you said, no one's at the controls. It just becomes,
yeah, they just want the result. They don't care, as long as, hey, 95% of these, flags, triggered and pulled video. Well,
yeah,
like
look at,
you don't know what the accuracy level is of that is.
oh, the
So
accuracy level, I guess, probably is it's always going to work until it doesn't. Like it's always going to get the desired result until it starts fucking up. And then
well,
they'll try something else and that might fuck up again, but it creates a whole nother echo chamber. And I think it's just like when something gets broken and somebody tries to fix it, but they do a shitty job, and it creates, that actually creates more jobs. More broken shit creates more
yeah,
jobs.
that's what I'm saying. By trying to overload the system and creating, I guess the other aspect or the other half of that equation is that we have to continue to create or derive a symbolic language, like cat milk for pussy juice. So
Yeah,
all of the words eventually become triggers, and then the computer is always being triggered, and then
exactly.
we fry the whole fucking shit.
Yeah. Well, there you
Um,
go. That's what you're watching right before your very eyes every time you go to Lowe's. I mean, don't you see? It's completely. interconnected in that way. It's manifesting itself in reality in that way. We're watching it shit the bed. We're
Yeah,
watching the diarrhea ooze out of the ass right now. But people
yeah,
aren't drowning in the diarrhea. There's oh, it stinks and it's irritating. Oh, well, wait until the levees break,
yeah,
you know? And then when does action usually take place is when there's an overreaction on another end. I'm sure
yeah,
that's why, under the guise of, war games or, not war games, but these exercises, these drills and these exercises, you know, you got to be pretty dense not to see that one aspect of that is you gotta move some meat and some weaponry into certain locations just in case the the fucking diarrhea starts to piss people off too much.
yeah. Well, they just have to have that
You know.
little bit of presence. Let's. I don't know if you ever. I mean, you're a city guy, so you probably see the fucking parade of stupid pigs as they fucking drive around like at the start of shift and the end of shift, like
You
you
know.
know, like they do that just to like kind of like show how many numbers they have. Just how. So it's like
Oh,
you
yeah,
see
man.
you see the shift, the incoming shift and the outgoing shift all at once, and you see, hundreds and hundreds of cop cars. You're going to assume a lot larger presence is there than actually is there.
And that's all you need. If that's stuck in the heads of most people, that's all you need.
Yeah,
And
you
that's
put them in fear, and they police themselves.
And I think that's what a lot of these popular narratives have become, contrived and put into the conspiracy culture, PK-22s or whatever back, 4 years ago. That wasn't clear at the time what was going on, but it's like it's still putting shit in people's heads that
Yeah,
they have control over anything. And
yeah,
you're just watching bad middle management at a like sales marketing. What do you call it? Like they do. I can't come up with any words today. You do cold calling.
yeah.
What do you call those fucking people who talk on the phone?
Telemarketers.
Yeah, telemarketers. Thank you.
Oh
Mumbles
my
with the save. Slam dunk.
God.
Yeah, telemarketers and things like that. If you ever worked in a place like that when you were younger, it's
Yeah,
it's a fucking nightmare. And the most emotionally dysfunctional person is the star of the goddamn show, and they never leave, and then they become the middle management.
yeah,
And they put they cut out pictures of the Lamborghini and put it up on their dream board in their
yeah.
cubicle, and then that becomes fucking
String.
that's telemarketer policy all of a sudden. Now you, under this middle management's authority, is mandatory that every week you have to cut out a new dream item to put on your dream board on your cubicle, or you're
Yeah,
going to be demoted or penalized.
yeah. You
You
need
know,
you need to have more flair.
yeah, you need to have more flair. And who is dictating the flair but the most insane, the most insane, dysfunctional, illogical uh, person
Yeah.
in the group.
That kind of moves into this little thing that I wrote. I was making some observations earlier, and yeah, it's like shouldn't we like strive to overreach our limitations or meet and exceed the limitations? And
Yeah.
hence the speed limit sign is the minimum requirement for travel.
Yeah, okay, there you go. See, this is great. You can file that under goats at Lowe's.
And that'll hold up in law, in the court of law.
Well, then, that's that's
Kangaroo
the
court.
that's that's the Breaking Wind legal department.
Yeah.
Once this ship really takes sail, we're gonna need quite a budget to keep everything running smooth.
Right.
Because once you figure this stuff out, it really is just a matter of we financially don't have access. We can garner the knowledge, and even through
Yeah.
trial and error, we can fuck up to a degree to figure out what are the parameters without getting into too hairy of a situation where you get locked up or ostracized in such a way that you can't get back up. But you can garner this knowledge, and we're out there. I see them on YouTube occasionally. There's people, they get it. They get the buildings, they get the atmospheric stuff, they get the stuff, and they also
Hmm.
realize that they see the shit in the sky, they feel the shit in the sky.
Yeah.
They see the retards at Lowe's. They understand. They're resonating with the broken cart wheels. But we're all in the eyes of the system. We're just these individualized entities that feel disempowered, that
Yeah.
don't have never entertained the idea that your mood actually could break break the clouds open. You
Yeah.
know?
And they know this information, and that's kind of another thing I wanted to get out
Do
there.
they?
What if the cloud is actually the cloud?
Yeah,
As in, as all of this information is being stored in the water droplets, and we're submersed in the water, and we can feel it.
yeah.
So,
Well,
sense to me.
it makes
Uh,
sense to me too. And apparently, 200 years ago, groups of dudes that held on to these juicy little tidbits of seemingly obvious knowledge, uh, and kept it to themselves, made drawings and diagrams and alchemical poetry, and uh, is basically, if you can decipher it, yeah, they
yeah,
do know. They do know
yeah.
that they understand these relationships.
And it's up to you to break out, because it's like Escape from LA, or like you gotta basically fight tooth and nail to get to get out of the situation and rise above it, so you could actually know how to manipulate it like they do.
Well, that's the weird cycle, isn't it? You get to a point, like I'll just collectively, I'll just say us. We represent some very small part of a population of people who have an awareness and are not particularly overreacting beyond like punching mulch bags.
Mm,
And you know you know we're generally, we figured it out. Be kind, don't fuck with anybody, and we
yeah,
expect not to be fucked with. Be Give the rubber carrots to the animals. uh you know don't make things shittier. That's a pretty basic thing that you can figure out when you're not fucked with.
do no harm and take no shit.
There you go. And if you're left alone, have enough. It's all about your concentration. It's such a valuable commodity, your concentration, your attention.
Yeah,
If you ever devise the ability, which I've completely lost, and probably you too, is like just keep holding your attention on something for any amount of time. I don't even know how to do it anymore. And if you could just stare at a tree and the way that it grows, like, in my clear moments, I'll be walking around and the trees are a disaster here, just covered in mold because they don't get the sunshine, and they're just eaten from the inside out. It's a fucking, you want to talk about a holocaust? It's an arboreal holocaust.
yeah,
But you can look at the way a tree grows and you can see the twist in the bark, but you just
yeah,
gloss over that in your daily life because you're honking on the horn, trying to get past the fucking, decrepit old lady who's got her grandma car stuck in the sewer,
yeah,
and you're not checking out this obvious subtle stuff that's in the environment around you. Or if you look at your fingers and how they're the way they're spaced or the way the skin folds. And, even the fingerprints, they have us thinking that fingerprints are something that's like associated with crime.
Yeah.
But when you look
Skill.
at them and you see these electromagnetic patterns,
Right. And each one's different. They're all
yeah,
different. Your unique
yeah,
identity, and they have your unique identity intimately related with the crime and punishment.
exactly. And it's to categorize you, tag you, file you away, commodify you, and pull energy and actual energy, and then financial energy out of you just to keep you going through the system. But
Yeah.
it's key. I've been to places where I've seen a different system in action, and it was quite a relief to me because I'd given up on everything. One of those places was Iceland. I went to Reykjavik. I
Uh-huh.
without getting too lost in the weeds. I never had the opportunity to travel, and well, anyway, I got the opportunity to travel, and it was under unfortunate circumstance. The people of Iceland uh, are even keeled. The children are well behaved. Physically, they're very attractive, which accounts for a lot. When a person is attractive, it doesn't mean that they're sexually attractive necessarily, but they're attractive. They're calm.
Yeah.
They're
Rating.
radiant,
Yeah.
and they behave themselves. They're polite, not because they have to be under the threat of law to be polite, but they're polite because it works. And it's good to be patient when you're waiting in line or someone needs help.
You get
But they,
more bees with honey.
yeah, you get more bees with honey than with
With chips.
than with get more flies with. See, but you get more flies with shit. You know
Yeah, but that's a lower quality, being. So
exactly. When you start getting coming back to where the environment that we're in, where everything is conceptually. I mean, we live in a conceptual environment expressing its dysfunction as everything breaking, and the only fix from the top down is to double down on it. Like if you see, it's look at how our food. You can't
yeah,
even just get regular food because it's obviously sprayed with shit.
yeah,
I can taste it in my mouth. I can feel it on my skin. It's because I can perceive that subtlety. But if you're
right.
stressed out and unhealthy and hungry, you're probably not even going to cook anyway. You're not even going to get vegetables that have been sprayed down, but you're going to get wheat that's been sprayed down.
Yeah,
And that's what gluten allergies are, is just your body's overloaded with toxicity from the pesticides and whatnot. And that's got to be something. I can't say I have firsthand knowledge of that going on, but I can see demonstrably, like on a local level, if people get a little green coming up on the crack on their sidewalk, they go and get some fucking poison,
yeah,
and they're dumping poison. They're working on their cars and dumping the poison down into the streets,
yeah,
and, and uh, it just has to keep going in this direction
yeah.
until it just farts itself into
Yeah.
oblivion.
Like the eco boost cars, right? It's
What's
not like
it? What is it? Where you fart into it?
I don't know what the fucking bullshit technology. Maybe it's like half electric or whatever. But
Oh Jesus,
eco
yeah.
boost, like they're talking, they want everybody to have that association with like fuel economy, but no, we're really talking about our hyperinflated system that we're
Yeah,
creating
yeah.
to stimulate in economy, so we could basically take all of your energy away in the form of money and other
Yeah.
ways too. But
Well, and
most of the energy I think is drained via the almighty dollar.
Well, yeah, I mean that's pretty hard to deny, man.
Yeah,
And then and everything else is just sort of, I don't know what the word is, reciprocal of that. For example, when you're stressed because you don't have money,
yeah,
you're gonna take the bait. You're gonna go to the corner store and grab yourself a 40 ounce of beer
yeah.
because you
You're gonna fill up on the fucking sugar. You could go and get a shopping cart full of fucking sugary shit
you know
at the local whatever A&P or whatever Piggly Wigglies. You go get a week's worth of fucking junk food for fucking $20. But if you can't even fill up the little fucking carry basket with vegetables for fucking $20.
well, you can.
Well, I can, but that's not.
But my point being that the money sets the parameters, but how you react to the excess or lack thereof is that's where the ball falls into your court.
Yeah,
So and that's a tough fucking thing because there was a point I could not relax from. I was working the classic 60 hours a week doing physical labor shit. My
yeah,
hours were always changing and fucked up. I worked with assholes. I was good at my job, but I was always getting the shit into the stick, and like it burned me out. And it got to a point I could not I could go to sleep, but I couldn't calm down without getting drunk before going to bed.
yeah,
And the echoes of you know destruction that came from that, not just my physical health, but then that's connected to mental health. Man, still the ring that rules them all is the money.
yeah.
It's the roof fence of the, of the Jew. It's not even the the Jew's just like the middle management of this fucking thing.
Yeah.
And the,
But
and
yeah, if you could going back to the weed killer and stuff, like uh if you can just take one aspect and eliminate it, like a grocery bill, or at least
yeah,
cut the grocery bill in half. The
yeah.
easiest way to do that is by growing vegetables instead of the amount of money you save. Uh, you know, it could pay for all the chemicals to do the backyard.
Yeah, well,
Put the garden in the front, and the money that you save with growing your own vegetables will be more than enough money to buy all the poison that you want.
I remember in school, they did not teach me how to grow food on
No,
a farm, so that knowledge is lost just through the incremental generational squeezing, and it makes you dependent on the system. Then, when you become dependent on the system, you're treated like a loser, an outcast. Although presently in the city, they do this like every 20 years. What was it back in Reagan? It was the welfare queen that was like living high on the hog, uh,
yeah,
just making babies and collecting money. That was the imagery that they put out there. Now
yeah,
everyone's a fucking victim, so they're pushing the food stamps. What do they call it? The SNAP card now. Where everyone can apply for assistance, and you think, oh wow, the system is really catching on. They're helping people in these hard times. Bullshit. They're cataloging and categorizing and putting you into the meat grinder.
Well, I mean, that's part of it, but I think the other part of it is they created this system of money, and they also had to create the remedy for this system at the same time.
Yeah.
It's that we're not aware of the remedy, and that we actually are worth a lot more money than we think we are. If you learn how to access your United States Treasury bonds,
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
know, you could really uh, take take uh, take back your 40 acres and your mule.
Yeah, but even I've seen people that figure that stuff out, and even though they figured it out, they can't. They still can't access it. and
Yeah.
you get bogged down in just like when you're in the right and you go to court. Let's say someone has done something to you, but you're in the right and you go to court. The person can take you to court and do a counter lawsuit, and just if they have
Yeah.
a bigger bank account, just bury you in
A
that
lot,
way.
a lot of
So
that is, yeah, adherence contracts are a big one. Contracts and adherence. Like your Jew friend. Like, if you ignore me, I'll go away. That's pretty much what a lot of this is. Is if you're willing to accept the office of the person and the name and the
yeah,
zip code that they assigned you, then yeah, you're a cattle and you're going to have to participate in their system.
and
But
that's it. So if you go the other direction, you got to do it perfectly. But even if you do it perfectly,
yeah,
there's still tactics to choke you out.
yeah,
So with the breaking wind, I love this idea of I'm never going to do anything perfectly, but I'm aware of what's going on, and
yeah.
I'm not interested in getting duped too many more times before I clock out.
No, no.
And so how do I, at least save some money on the color of paints that I want? And
Like some of these things, I'm still trying to work out myself, and I'm not like the type of guy that just talks about it. I have stacks and stacks of papers that I've filed and you know uh,
yeah,
notices that I've sent.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you put certain parties on notice, and just trying like that whole process. And uh, it's very telling, because if I don't want to get too give too much of myself away here, because I'm still uh, tied up in the legal quandaries at the moment.
uh,
But there are it's not like your bonds and your treasury bonds are not like you could go and just take cash out of the bank. It's
yeah,
uh it's like an accepted for value, like an AT.
oh yeah,
So like when you get these statements, well, first you need a true statement, not just a bill. You need or no, you need the true bill, not the statement. I'm sorry. So
and
they
then you
send
make it a
statements.
receipt, right?
Yeah, yeah. So you just fill that thing out, or make it a check. Like you take your payment slip and you turn that into the note. The payment,
Yeah,
and it's all just about you know capitalization is key.
yeah,
The color of your ink does matter.
yeah. Even
Uh,
writing it at like 45-degree angle even helps. Yeah,
yeah, no, all
Or
these
if you get a
things.
particular kind of stamp and then you become the postmaster, that's the highest. Isn't that the highest authority that you can have as a postmaster?
The postmaster, yeah, well, postmaster general, I
Yeah,
suppose.
the postmaster general. Yeah. So if they relinquish authority to you and you accept it and then maintain it
Yeah,
by taking those steps, then yeah, you can navigate it in that realm. But if the human beings that you have to interact with in human resources or down at the official,
exactly. Exactly. I went
you
to the
can't
post
get it
office.
done. You can't get it done because you
Yeah,
figured out the conceptual confines, but you
yeah.
can't find a human being to
Well, you
activate that.
circumvent them. You have to circumvent.
Yeah, you
So,
can. You circumvent, but
yeah,
this is the same. This is a beautiful tie-in because it illustrates exactly what the quote unquote artificial intelligence has created. There's a gap. There's a huge gap between the human and the technology. So the dysfunction can't be bridged. And so once you figure out how to manage these legal technologies. I think that's the best way to put it. The legal technologies, uh,
Mm.
navigating the language and how to use it to diffuse it and de-weaponize it, and then turn the cannon around. Once you start walking around with that thing, people don't even understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So the only way you can circumvent it is to send it to certain departments that no one human being is actually. Nobody wants to touch it. It's a
Yeah.
the passing the hot potato because nobody knows what to do with it and no one wants to sign off on it.
Yeah. They don't know what to do. They don't even know where to direct you. I went into, I don't know how many post offices, to
Jesus,
ask for the proper paperwork to rescind the office of the person. And, you know,
forget it.
the welfare recipient behind the counter just like looks at me like I'm from fucking outer space or something.
Let me tell you something, man. The other day, I went to try and get postage stamps, and I got exactly the same fucking reaction. They can't even do what they're supposed to do. There's a complete disconnect there.
Yeah, even the job, even the job that they trained to
Yeah,
do. Yeah, like
but
yeah,
that's where we are with the diarrhea levy. You
yeah.
know,
Well,
uh,
yeah, you could circumvent all this and just put legal notices in your local papers, on your own accord, and that's supposedly it works. If you get print out a legal notice and you go to the county clerk's office and you display that on the bulletin board, and
yeah,
you make sure it's up there for like I believe 72 hours,
yeah,
then you're in the clear pretty much. That becomes law. It's in the books, and it's the
yeah.
law of the land at that point. So.
But if
And that's all this is really just like a fucking big shuffling around of papers.
yeah, well, I mean, I think what else could it be? It's the afterbirth of the shit show. It just you keep creating more. Like every time you break something, it just breaks 10 more things. It breaks 10 more things. It breaks 1,000 more things.
Yeah.
There's no harmony to it, so the only thing it can do is create more paperwork, and that's
Yeah.
where
And hope it sticks. Hope it sticks.
I hope it sticks. And when it doesn't stick, just wiggle around it or change the meaning of the language, change the word. And
Yep.
they and if that doesn't work, you just hang it up in court. Like there's not even any really need to go around and sneakily assassinate people and shit like this because you can basically spiritually murder somebody by just getting them uh, tangled up in all of this.
Yeah.
Um, so for me,
Yeah.
that and for me, I can't. I have researched this stuff. I got to the accepted for value stage. I I I became suspicious of the whatever the mentors that I followed wasn't really mentors, but
Yeah.
and then I started seeing where they came from and then what happened to them and
Yeah.
then what they were rooted in and the language they were using and the way they were using their hands
Yeah.
and references to certain things that I know for a fact don't exist. And if they are, in fact, you know, trying to share this information, for the good of humankind, it seems peculiar to me that they would speak so clearly with their hands and also reference things that I know are demonstrably non existent. And these are highly intelligent people.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting sold a bag of goods. It's like, wow, do I really want to take the long route to, you know, fucking exhaustion? I'd rather just,
Yeah. Just disappear. It's
yeah,
easier.
yeah. And that's where I'm struggling now. Yesterday, we were talking about art grants and things like that. And
Yeah.
even an art grant, you have to wonder, in your case, like you said, is that even something that I could participate with? Like,
Yeah, well,
could I
some
even
of,
accept that money?
some of these programs, like there's a book, out there. I think it's called, Name or Incorporate. Or no, what is it? Let's see, name the family farm and lose it or something. Or I can't think.
Eh,
But basically,
sounds
like
good.
once you file these papers and now you're let's see how to explain that. It's like a title for your car. It's the title is not uh, conferring the ownership to you. It's basically transferring the ownership to the state and registering you to use that under the authority of the state. So
Right.
that's why they're allowed to ticket it, and that's why you're subject to all their rules, regulations, because you titled the car and you gave them the
Yeah.
title.
Exactly.
It's and you can't even get around that anymore. You used to be able to go and buy a car if you had enough money and get a manufacturer's receipt of origin, which
Yeah.
is kind of like the whole Tesla. I think this is why Tesla was like so slow, because they didn't want to do the registrations or something. I think I remember.
Oh, is that
Uh,
when it was? That story is a carnival show in itself.
yeah, I don't. I mean, I still think, yeah, that's like a loaded, double-ended fucking sword there. It's
Oh,
I,
sure. It's a
I,
fantasy story. It's a name to put in everyone's living room so they can feel like
yeah,
somebody's making progress towards something green for the environment. When at any given moment they want to, stop that cartoon strip, just like, Tesla's a concept that embodies, ideas and models of how electricity works and things like that. Elon Musk is for the fucking whoever's out there, whatever you call them. I don't want to be degrading the normal person
well,
to make them feel like something's happening. But at any
yeah,
given moment, whoever owns Ford and all the other motor companies can just, you know, they get rid of that. They got an electric car, snap of the fingers, and use the uh, they can use this whole story about atmospheric electricity harvesting and green. You could just see the whole narrative being set up.
yeah. Eventually, it's all going to be mainstream, and
Yeah, it's all going to be mainstream. They're creating a new economy.
but that's like that kind of brings me to back to the point where I think our technology or the technology that's being used to manipulate us is already far advanced, and it's probably on the quantum level. And we're holding these cell phones in our hands, and we're creating the grid. We're creating the network with our own consciousness. If there was no devices, there would be no communication.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, the quantum level just being it, all that is quantifying on a level beyond what we're capable of doing. You have to have a machine to be able to crunch these numbers to take it into that conceptual area, so you can point at things that don't exist in reality. They only exist in the imagination. So quantum computing is just calculating these relationships and numbers that create the actual conceptual existence of these algorithms that kind of maintain themselves. They're designed to shut things down. Going back to that,
Hmm.
tying it all in together. Uh, if if an overarching objective, which it appears to be, is to create a new economy with a new uh, fuel, a new narrative for a new fuel, a new economy based on whatever, either more meat or less meat, but people doing more with less. Uh,
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't agree with the economy part. Why do we need a new economy? Why have
well,
any?
No, I don't. I think it's a. Well, I agree. I agree, but I think there's an overarching narrative that is it's changing. It's just changing the state. It's changing the play. Like
Yeah, it's the
it's changing the
same,
story. It's the same story,
same
but
it's the same tactics, same control tactics, just different. Yeah, just different media.
yeah, different veneer. So you have to build in the idea of an artificial intelligence that's smarter than the human being. You have to build in the idea that there's science become science. What is presented as science, like bow tie science, is the new religion. The Catholic Church used to be the government. The government now is this sort of nation states sort of idea. They got to get rid of the nation states idea to create this conglomerate of a one state to where they can run so everybody in Afghanistan can have a Lowe's just like you,
Yeah,
and everyone is equal to everyone else. You have to create these conceptual ideas, and that's why there's a green movement. That's why we all separate our garbage into this thing, not only to save money in the short term for them, but to also, they got to do something with this fuel crisis story. Won't last forever. It has a statute of limitation. Like a
yeah.
bullet, a lie's got to collapse.
Yeah,
It's all got to collapse.
you could see that there's already a slow trickle release of like alluding stories that like they allude to the fact that it's all been a hoax and that we've
Yeah,
all misguided thinking that whatever space or
yeah,
moon landing or any of that shit, like, oh, we just been like
yeah. We're just on the gnarly edge. We're like the starter yeast for the bread loaf. We're just in the beginning of this fucking thing, and it's going to take 50 years for this stuff to be a couple generations later.
yeah.
It'll just be an accepted thing, and
I mean,
we'll be long gone by the transition. Look, people are not going to be fucking thinking that right now. People think the Earth is fucking dying. That's when I think about that, it's maddening. It's so
yeah,
fucking stupid. The Earth's not fucking dying. The Earth's not even what you think it is, and it's certainly not fucking dying. And
yeah,
then, but that's what the majority of people stumbling around each other right now think the Earth is dying. Like that's their base mode of operation, which is rooted in the guilt and all the and the green products that they're paying 5 times more for, which are probably just as toxic in other ways. But it's part of the gear. Like we're watching these teeth in the gears grind
right.
together so fucking slowly, and it's like, when is this fucking movie gonna end? It's not. But you gotta, if you just get a simple grasp that the Earth is not fucking dying, it's not a heliocentric model. That's a model that explains some shit that's probably
Yeah,
rooted in navigation, that's firmly rooted in your financial system, navigation, and the economies, because these people came from the fucking water and they just went from port to port. They have no home. That's why there's admiralty law and everything exists in the fucking water, because these people go to places, they take the whatever is being grown or sold there and take it somewhere else where it's not, and then sell it for more. And then
well, what are we talking about in these subaquatic communities that we're not supposed to know
no,
about?
no, not the subaquatics. It's the fucking people in the boats with the purple people eaters.
Yeah,
The fucking Phoenicians that gave us the
um,
language, that gave us
yeah,
the stories of the
I'm talking.
stars.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
all
I'm
this shit
talking
comes from that
old
same
stuff.
place.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
think it's still there though. I think this. I think the same entity is still there, and
yeah, of course it is. That's what's that's these are the ones. Those are the overlords, whether they exist in reality or conception. that's the artificial intelligence that continues to run. You know, there may be an entity that's so big that it doesn't actually exist at all, and it's just
Yeah,
the function of these beings that have to push the buttons to keep the fucking thing going. And that's why prophecy is so easy to fucking figure out. You just reverse engineer. You just set the end of the story at the beginning, and then you reverse engineer the shit. But then
yeah.
you
You
just
know what your result is, and then you just build the story to make that result. And then more clever you are, and the more friends you have, and the more money you have, you can have other friends writing books to support the same things that
ex-
you're talking about.
exactly. But that's
Yeah,
why it's so fucking. The 99% of the population is completely oblivious. They see the story going one direction. They don't know that the story's already been written and that there's an end. And that, so
yeah,
they're watching it happen in reverse. So your idea, actually time going in reverse, is so legit on that level, even because people are perceiving things completely bass backwards for how they are actually working.
yeah. So now getting back to your other point there, like, we're just kind of like changing systems, from like basically the same blueprint, just different, different size screens or what have you, say,
Yeah, yeah,
yesterday's technology was by copper wire and tomorrow's is going to be, fiber optic and, a year
all you know,
be this, but so like even as far as thought and beliefs go,
same thing.
or things like that, and you might are we just the first ones to be goalied into the new system, and the first ones to get fooled with like just the smallest amount of information, like like are
Yeah.
other people just smarter than us, and they're going to sit back and wait until all of these methods are tried and true, and then jump on the bandwagon, and then we're going to find out that it was false also.
Well, that sounds pretty good to me. I mean, I don't think there's any beginning or end to it, really. Like, it's never going to be this is where it started and this is where it ended.
Yeah, it's always a moving thing, but
It's a shit in progress. I mean,
yeah,
but the likes of you and me, we we're inquisitive people. We're doesn't seem like we're too prone to hold on to something that doesn't resonate as true or honest or logical, but we're
yeah,
also open minded and can think critically. So when something doesn't smell right, we don't get dogmatic about it. So we're able to digest the information faster and ask the next question. But
yeah,
it
yeah.
sounds
A lot of people get stuck on the
they get
same thing.
stuck. They
Yeah,
get they get the ball earth replaced with the flat earth, and then it becomes the dogma of the flat earth. So what we're probably going to watch in our lifetime is watch something slowly transition into a geocentric green awareness conscious, everyone's the
yeah,
same,
yeah.
you
Well,
know.
I
But
know you don't
we're
watch a lot of TV, but that stuff's already out there.
it's out there, but people don't know that they hold those beliefs. They don't know that they are are participating in this shit. So for us, it's like we showed up at the party way too fucking early. You know, you always want to be like casually late to a party where
Yeah,
you're not there too early where nobody's drunk yet and
yeah, yeah,
all the food hasn't arrived yet. And you're just kind of standing around with your thumb in your ass. You want to
yeah,
show up a few hours after where things are getting loose and the cleavage is popping out and
yeah,
the
yeah.
jokes are flowing. We're at the fucking party before the house is built and it sucks. So we're like, what do? We break out the lawn chairs and we got to have like a tailgate. We got to have
Yeah,
our own tailgate party.
yeah. I used to love tailgating,
Yeah,
but
so that's what we're doing. We're tailgaters. Wind
yeah,
breaking tailgaters, and it
we're
doesn't make
the we're the T-shirt of the band that we're gonna go see.
what they're exactly. That's exactly right. and it doesn't make any sense to anybody else around us, but it'll resonate with truth to people that do hear us. They can hear, there's always going to be an element of frustration for somebody who can see that, knows the end game but can't do anything about it. You're going to be frustrated to a certain degree. Then you're going to have a sense of humor about it because there's nothing really to be afraid of, but it's just an agonizing fucking process of watching it. So you have
Yeah.
this physical body in this conceptual reality. There's nothing to like rise above. You're risen above it just by default. The point is to just become aware that you do have the authority without
Yeah.
filling out the paperwork. You do
Yeah.
have the authority, but to embody that on a second to second, minute to minute, moment to moment, daily basis, it's so fucking difficult. Like you said, by 3 o'clock, it's
But
burned
gotta be,
out.
yeah, you gotta be very diligent. And I'm sure like I don't have as strong as a mind body spirit connection that I used to. Mostly I think my body's mostly out of whack, but the mind and spirit is all good. So I think I had to have all three facilities in perfect working order to actually be able to navigate my way out of this better. Like
Yeah, I feel you.
like like that cat Seven Bomar from Understanding.
Oh yeah.
Guy, he's just like so well composed, and it's just you
Yeah,
know
but he's just
I
another.
don't
He's just another
know.
person, and
Yeah, yeah, but
uh,
he's out there. He's actually putting the pedal to the pavement and trying to create. Like, I don't know if you know about his Aqua or Phi Aqua machine that he's building. It's
no, but yeah.
but like he's really into the sovereignty and basically creating the system that we're talking about. Maybe his is a little different, but like basically creating an economy through the conscious community. So all people like ourselves, and
I don't know why that worked for
probably
me,
a
but
lot of
because
well,
I followed his stuff. Yeah, it was right around the time I was learning about sovereignty, and I had just I had just like broken up with a big clump of. There was Michael Tessarian. There was who was the other one that was he wanted to beat up the cops. Fucking Passio, Mark
uh,
Passio, and then it started turning into this. I started just recognizing this pattern in these people who would present material. And I watched Bomar. He was interviewed. God, that's when I used to listen to THC too. Right, Carl Ward's first
yeah,
podcast, and I kind of watched that grow. And then I was like, man, this isn't feeling right either. And then the characters that were coming through, I said, oh, Bomar, he sounds genuine. So I was with him for a while, and I can't remember what it was that just got stuck in my craw. It's the community. It's the community
yeah,
building
yeah.
aspect of
When
it.
you
For me, I'm out. As soon as there's a community building aspect, it just reeks of something. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying it's disingenuous, but it's like there is no community.
But
There's
you
you.
gotta, you gotta put up your own roof fence to protect your own assets or your own ass. Like so. Hence donkeys behind the roof fence.
Yeah,
But
but that's what you're doing. I don't need to build a machine for my own self, so I guess that's why it doesn't resonate with me.
well,
I'm
no,
not.
I mean it's like he's trying to create a whole economy and all that.
He always
You
creating his
know,
own economy.
well, it's not really his own economy, but it's like how do we get out of the rut of doing these bullshit jobs that are counterintuitive to what we actually believe, and then like there's really nothing out there for you except for being an artist, or a broke artist
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
make it, or you build a machine, or whatever.
yeah. I know, but I just seems to doesn't see. It just seems like it's you for me. In my Well, I can't say one thing is right and one thing is wrong. So all I can do is share what I found, and what I
Yeah,
found just going through uh, the physical troubles, like losing my health, was a big wake up call for me because I had a lot more confidence that if I did the right thing, good things would happen to me. And I come to find out in my later years that things are way too uh, the way too violent and aggressive and backwards to my values for me to just rest on my loyal laurels and be an honest and a good person and this sort of thing. And so, uh, losing my health, I became an allegory for me. Repairing my health goes in tandem with like repairing my mind and getting away from my mind and realizing my identity, like the sovereignty thing. The thing I love about it is that it helps you recognize that there's a you on paper, and then there's a you in the physical world. But then there's also a you that's not you. It doesn't have a name, that is embodied in the physical instrument, and uh, the laws and the rules don't have anything to do with you. Like there's laws and rules in kindergarten too, but you don't have to worry about them
yeah,
because you're on a different level. And so I got to a point where I got so sick that everything was stripped out. So when I came out of that, I was never really happy. I was never really satisfied, but I kind of realized no one can help me and I'm all by myself, and that's it. Like that's the end of it. And
well,
my physical self is basically uh I don't know what is mandatory. If you're going to participate in this environment, you got to have a physical self. And I don't know. There's something to be said for like accountability, not in the sense of responsibility, but there's an accountability that lies specifically with you to figure out your specific situation because only you have your specific set of experiences. So
right.
no one else's model can do more than inform you than else's model, really, because the same story is told over and over again, and the rules of engagement are pretty simple. But as far as like anyone helping you, I don't know, man. It's weird, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
you're
all
sharing
of that stuff.
information.
Yeah, it's all open to so all susceptible to corruption. Once you're talking about communities, and there's going to be some sort of hierarchy, and somebody's going to have to be in charge.
Weird.
Then, yeah, then it kind of gets tricky. But I don't know, when I think of like I don't know. I mean, I like being isolated completely, but like a tribe life, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 people, something like
Oh,
that.
really?
Might be something doable, maybe. I don't know.
It just seems to me that the dynamic is always the same when you get any group of people together. And it's not to say completely isolate yourself, but whenever there's like a dependency or a division of labor or something like that, the same personality problems always come up. And I
Yeah,
think that comes from my disappointment with dealing with people who were in, let's say, like alternative medicines and healing modalities and organic farming and, raising their children outside of the system and things like this. They, their personalities were exactly the same as anybody who was uh, just going to regular public school, even worse, because there was like a sense of entitlement that came with it, or it was
Yeah.
just so I got real disappointed in that sense. Still respect for individual people, but then it comes down to like, oh, who's gonna do the dishes? Oh, I did the dishes last time. Okay, well, we need to call a community meeting to see how we're gonna. And it's like, oh, here we go. This is fucking Planet of the Apes all over again.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I guess I understand the scenario that or the picture you're painting.
It's
Yeah,
not the only
everything.
one, but
No, but that is a good one. You know, I'm sure there's going to be a shit job that somebody doesn't want to fucking do, and you know, someone else going to have to pick up the slack for this guy because he don't want to fucking work today.
yeah, man.
Yeah, yeah, I guess. But like I said, it's you know, how do we get something better? Is it just isolation, or is it you
Well,
know,
it's the ebb and
have,
the flow, baby.
we have to make something for ourselves, you know? So
It's
uh,
it's it seems
system
to
they
be
have, the system that they have laid out for us is done nothing but harm, I suppose. But
well. At the same time, the system they laid out, I'm able to talk to a Mumbles
yeah, yeah,
several hours
well,
on it, things like
it's
that, and that's
paradoxical, you know. It's paradoxical at best. It's yeah.
well, it's
Because
a
yeah,
flow.
I wouldn't, I don't know, would I have these same thoughts and stuff, or you know, am I receiving a signal from beyond that feeds this, or
Well, for me, I feel like I've just been so corrupted by whatever immersion into media and uh, advertising that, uh, like you said, what's an original thought? So I know
yeah,
when those things, I don't know how to say this, but I know when those things are not allowed to participate in my mind, even though I'm still thinking in the English language. Sometimes even that disappears. When that goes away, I feel like I'm in the right spot, and it doesn't matter if I'm stuck in traffic or working a shit job or I'm having a quiet afternoon by myself. In any of those given moments, I'm it seems like if you get rid of time, if you start to practice to get outside of time, even though you're physically trapped in a particular moment in rush hour traffic or whatever, it's not about positive thinking, it's not about breathing, it's just the sheer authority of being alive. It's the authority of having the whatever the life, the chi, the life force running through you, the electricity and
mhm,
everything in harmony. The absence of thought, the absence of calculation. So in that moment, you're doing what that moment calls for, customized to your personality. So if there is a group of people and you're a big, strong guy, and that moment calls for a big, strong guy, and you do whatever needs to be done to make that group run smoothly, and you've
yeah,
done that to the peak of your uh, talent without effort, just being yourself. Like, just be. How hard is it just to be yourself? It's the hardest thing in the world. Just be yourself, because it's like just be, man. Just
yeah.
be. Let you.
Everybody, you always have to act.
Yeah. So that's why the idea of progress, I think, has been advertised to me in such a way. Like I was saying, years ago, how I'd be promoting, promoting my new, YouTube channel or something like that. Whereas now it's like I'm just enjoying each moment.
Yeah,
But then that next step where it's like, oh, maybe it does call for a little bit more extra effort. But, I don't know why it's even tough just to make the minimalist amount of effort beyond
yeah,
what I have right now. Because what I have right now, I don't know. I'm good with myself mostly. There's always Always got to change the spark plugs and
Yeah,
uh,
but
well, anyway, so yeah, here we are describing probably a lot of people like us.
I don't know. I think getting back to the seven Bomar, I think he's got a lot of good ideas, but um, like I guess going back to like the community and like all that type of stuff. Like I'm not like signing up for anything and
No,
like
I know you're not.
going to the things or like his seminars or whatever. Like I don't get to into that level. But like if he may like I was talking, he's making that Phi Aqua thing basically charge or program drinking water before you drink it. Um,
Yeah.
which I would buy one and support him that way for sure. But
Yeah.
I mean it's still he's creating his own economy for him.
Yeah,
And
that's what
that's
I'm
what I
saying.
mean. That's what I mean when I like stride for that, like where I have that togetherness to where I could create my own economy and have that you know flow that I need
Yeah.
without not being myself.
Well, I feel like the crazy thing is that you are creating that economy. I don't see Seven Bomar as having it together. I really don't. I don't have any sort of understanding of why it's even a like not just him. I'm just using him as an example, and I do paint with a broad brush. Like I'll throw the book away as soon as I just see a mention of an iceberg or a volcano. I'm just sick of it. But but there's information in that book that can be used to whatever. And depending on the content, I'm going to keep it. And maybe I'm throwing out the Seven Bomar baby with the bathwater with
Yeah,
the
I think
you
you
know,
might be. I think you might
but
be.
but for me it doesn't matter because I've thrown out a lot of other things and I didn't miss out. Um, I'm I I'm challenging myself to follow my own path and just kind of sit with the confusion, sit with the discomfort. I think that's why I'm like so fucking bent out of shape, got a bug up my ass about it right
Yeah,
now. Like I get surprised when we talk at the things that get me riled up and like steering off course. But it it's so fucking frustrating and there's so many dead ends that the only thing I found is sitting with yourself. Like, man, what I saw that video, you're asparagus. Plus, just let me say, you're a funny fucking guy. Like,
what?
you're really fucking funny.
What did I
And
say?
and uh, that in and of itself is like so admirable and unique. Um, plus,
Yeah.
you
It's not
don't.
that great though.
Yeah, no, I know. I like the more I get to
Being the
talk to you, the
clown,
more.
fun.
But to be able to get 5 boxes of vegetables, it, even though they're the number two boxes at the local market or whatever, for
Yeah,
me, because I'm in a different situation. For me, it's like, God damn, man, I would love that because just like what you said, half a basket of vegetables here at the organic store is costing me
yeah,
twice as much,
yeah,
and it's like, okay, that's something that I want. Like I definitely want to have, but I'm dealing with what I got now. Like right now I just go, oh, this is my learning process. Like I'm
yeah,
learning how to make do with a minimal amount, limited resources. I guess what I'm saying is like whatever situation you find yourself in, like you got to when it rains all the time up there or
yeah,
the sun doesn't come out and you got to deal with the mud and your animals getting out of the gates and your router's not working, these sort of things.
yeah.
This is your
All the little
personalized,
bullshit.
this is your customized uh, class. This is your uh, uh, whatever you would call like you are your own community. Well, I don't know what to call it.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
your own. It's your own education, you know. And for me, it's so easy to see. Like, wow, that's great. You actually made the jump out of the city, even though maybe it was a little, quick,
yeah.
and you found yourself with a lot more expenses, and uh,
I could have done it a lot better, and
you could
a
have done
lot
it a
of
lot better.
better ways. Yeah.
But that was part of your customized learning process too, because you're always going to make decisions based on the information you have at that moment.
Right.
And
Right.
and that's when you're going to learn, oh, maybe I'm a little bit too emotional in this situation, and I'm making a decision based out of desperation.
Yes.
The next time I feel that pressure building up, I'm going to be more aware. I still may make irrational decision, or a decision that in hindsight I wish I'd not made, but you'll be that much more informed specifically for yourself, because who knows why you didn't just feel comfortable uh, living in the city. You know, there's lots of people who love living here.
Yeah. Yeah.
They can see all the conveniences. The
Yeah.
poisoning doesn't seem to bother them. The noise doesn't seem to bother them. They seem to romanticize all the things that are highly irritating to me. And
Yeah.
I don't know why that.
They're all gonna die of cancer, though.
But that's the thing. The way I see it is just, yeah, they're going to go to the all-you-can-eat buffet down at Mount Sinai Hospital.
Well, no, like any old thing that like they're just. I think they're just suppressing it and like fucking and just bottle it up and that
Yeah,
shit fucking eats away at their insides. It
yeah,
has
but
to be eaten away, and they're just not conscious at all to fucking realize it. You know,
so
they're
probably
dead.
yes, and that is, although I've never felt connected to that group of people, there's always been a level of discomfort and questioning inside of me. I I still see where, I've been self-satisfied in so many different states in my life. I never questioned so many things, and now I find myself in this precarious situation. Oh, it's not even so precarious. It's just so hyper simplified that I think I'm addicted to the idea that there needs to be progress, or
Yeah,
that there needs to be something more than what's happening now. Like that's been beaten into my head, like patriotism has been beaten into some other person's head,
yeah.
which made
I mean, if if I knew, like if I had the firsthand knowledge, like that these futuristic things are indeed a reality, like a Jetsons type scenario. Everybody's shooting around in flying cars and
yeah.
whatever, fucking jumping from galaxy to galaxy, and there's fucking different laws of physics over here. This planet's fucking all fucking jello, and this planet's all fucking got chicken people walking around. Like if I knew that there was actually some reality to something like that, uh, I would probably or strive to, you know, get there as fast as possible. But
Oh man,
I don't
there
think
you
it's,
go. Isn't that funny? That's probably how a majority of people consciously and unconsciously feel. Like they're like, well, I want to go to Chicken People Planet, or at least I want my children's children to go to Jello Planet someday.
yeah,
I guess I better go to work. And
because the Earth is dying.
yeah,
Because the
yeah,
Earth is dying, so we need to find another place.
yeah. Again, it's always kicking the can down the road with the fucking math. With it used to be thousands of years, and then hundreds of thousands, then it became millions of billions. In the economy, you'd be in debt $1 million. Now you're in debt some quadrillion dollars. Then you get, the sun used to be fucking 30 miles away. Now it's
Yeah,
93 billion miles away. And then if you just get cornered, if you get bullshit, you get cornered by your own bullshit. You just kick the numbers up a notch. That's why you need
yeah,
quantum computing. So you got to change. Quantum computing has gotten to the point where it's like scrambled our brains to where we have to conceptualize beyond any sort of logic, or even like healthy imagining. It's you gotta just stop the whole fucking thing. Just
Yeah.
fucking stop. You just hear. This is it.
Stop or stand in the place
Place
that you.
you live. I used
Yeah.
to bartend at that dude's favorite bar. He never tipped. Never,
Who
never
the
tipped with his
fucking REM guy you talking about?
with his big head.
Oh, I thought you were talking about that. There used to be a TV show with that this dude. I think his name was Chris something. That comedian, that bald. He was like bald. He like used to live in his parents' basement.
Oh god, yeah, that guy was. I think he I think he must have figured something out. And then like Cabin Boy. God, what was his
Yeah,
name?
yeah, that guy. I don't. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And that
Chris.
was the theme. That was the theme music. Stand in the
Oh,
basement.
oh, was it?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that dude must have figured everything out because he just disappeared. Like no fake
Uh,
celebrity death required. He just fucking
oh, he's
cashed.
still out there. He's still out there doing. He does cameos. I see him out
Oh
there. Like,
no, does he?
you
Oh
know, he
no.
was in that How I Met Your Mother. He was in that series, and
Oh
yeah, he
God.
does like TV shows mostly. You know, which
Fucking A. Well, no one's safe.
no.
I was hoping one got out. One like Cool Hand Luke. Cool Hand
Yeah.
Luke, you know that. Well, yeah, he gonna make it. I know he made it. Oh, look at that. That's a fine picture with him beautiful women. Luke, my man, Luke, my boy, Luke made it.
Get it off here, balls. Yeah.
Oh man, they broke him too.
Yeah, yeah. At the end, he was like the other guy, like the fucking, oh, yeah, what can I get you, boss? Yeah,
That's it, man. A little soft shoe. What can I do for you?
yeah.
Ah, yeah, it's just life outside the advertising and the media for us seems fucking impossible and impossible. You have to deal with it.
Well, I'm like, I look at things like, I know you don't really like watching any TV or anything like that, but like, I'll still watch shit. Like I just look for things that, suit my narrative or like help put,
Hmm.
like, I'm just looking for the missing pieces to the puzzle that I have already.
Do you
Uh,
think you can? There's value
TV watch.
in searching that stuff. I mean, if it's coming from
There's certainly value in watching TV. I think. I mean, yeah, all of these things are like the double-edged sword. Like
I mean, I'm
you
not
know,
anti anything, but
no, I don't know, whatever. It's just there's definitely value to any information, and if uh, the only bad thing about TV, I think, is just like disengaging, like how people zone out and just are completely unengaged and just like you know I don't know how they watch TV, but like like I'm like searching, I'm looking at the background, I'm looking for all the owls, I'm looking for all the fucking
no,
I'm looking for all that shit,
no,
like
I hear you. Like every once in a while, I'll find some yeah, I'll find some movie to dig up, and I'm watching it in that sort of engaged way. But
yeah,
but I
everything.
just also suspect, like unbeknownst to myself, there's something else underlying getting into me. Yeah, there's
Yeah, well,
and it's like at what cost? Like the ice cream is delicious, but the artificial flavoring is the whole point of the ice cream sundae.
yeah.
Plus, I save 30% on it, or I could get it for free.
Free.
I just
Yeah. Go to Wendy's.
yes,
Go to Wendy's and ask for a frosty and do the accepted for value.
yeah. That's what would they have to do? She would have to give you a receipt, and then you would have to turn it over. And what did you have? Like, is it red ink and a
You
postage
need,
stamp?
I think you need three
Oh,
different color drinks.
You do,
Yeah.
because you have to sign your name in a blue
Yeah.
or a black,
Yeah.
and then everything else has to be in red. And then
Yeah.
just hand that back to the tubby bitch, and then see.
What do you mean you don't take this?
Let me see your manager. I would like
Just
to
I write,
explain to him I'm a
you just write
sovereign
on
man.
it. You just write on there legal tender, and they have to take it.
They have to. That's right. I ran into this situation so many times in the city. I had to renew my driver's license, and they want everyone to get the new driver's license with the chip in it. And I've held on to my license for so many years that I just renewed it back in my old state. And my old
Yeah.
state is a podunk sort of place that didn't put a chip in the license back in the day. It's just a shitty old 1980s looking
Yeah.
plain
Yeah.
old plastic laminated photo and some information. I don't even think there was a hologram on it. And I I went back and I redid all the stuff, and I mailed it in. And I knew that they're funneling everyone into this. What is the chip ID? What do they call it?
RFID.
The RFID. They want
Uh-huh.
everyone to have the RFID. And in 2020 or whatever, you're not going to be able to fly without an RFID chip identification card or a international passport.
Yeah, because that chip is tracking you. That chip tracks you. RF is
Exactly.
radio frequency.
Yeah,
So
they want.
they're getting interference signals off of their broadcast
Yeah,
and figuring out where you are.
yeah, they got
And
to know where their $1 million worth of meat is. They
yeah,
got to know where the fucking meat is.
where's that free iPhone we gave him?
so so here's the difference I learned. I wasn't even on my high horse, but I knew, like, I didn't get into the whole legalese of the situation. I just studied the Department of Motor Vehicles for the state's policy for renewing the license uh, via mail. Because if I did it through mail, I didn't have to get a new physical card. They could just update the information on the computer.
Oh,
And
there's
so
no date. There's no date on the card even.
it was, or maybe they send the card, but what they did is they send you an updated card, but it doesn't have the chip, because to get the chip, you have to be there physically
Oh yeah,
to prove your identity or something like this. So anyway, I went through.
like enhanced. It's the enhanced
It's the
thing.
enhanced for her
Yeah,
pleasure.
with
And
the heart donor certificate.
yeah. Well, that's the other thing. If you want to try and if like me, you were an organ donor back in when you were in college because you wanted to save $15 or something like that.
No, not
And
me.
now you became you see, you had a different upbringing than me. You had a little bit more I don't know what it is, savoir
I don't
faire.
know. I don't know. I mean, I kind of like, I hated my childhood. I didn't fucking learn anything in school. I just,
Me
like, I
neither,
just
but
went through the fucking motions. I did fucking the bare minimum and just, like, got out by the skin of my fucking teeth. And as soon as I fucking was like, I don't know, I think I was 18, I went and I bought my own house. And I mean, everything I fucking know I'm all self-taught, 100%
uh,
self.
it sounds like
High
you
school was
lived the
just a
dream, man.
fucking high school was just a blur. I mean, I
I hear you.
had like allergies, like severe allergies my whole life, and going
Yeah, see, these things
through
really
high
shape you.
school, to go into a high school environment and always constantly like having nasal congestion and like needing to blow
Oh
your
man.
nose or needing, just all that shit. It's just you can't fucking focus on anything.
See, this reminds me of the story of my double vision before I realized I had the double vision. It's just the perception of your reality is shaped by these things, man. This is what winds winds up putting a couple of dudes like us together breaking wind. I think it's
Yes.
so satisfying. Is not only navigating. See, there's a lot of people who navigate this system frictionlessly because you can turn off your brain, and if you do come from a fairly, functional family with a mother and a father dynamic that,
Yeah.
where there's food, no matter how good the quality food or how good the quality of the mother or the father, and there's and there's the community and this sort of thing, and you never really color outside the lines. You can really just fucking uh you can get through this and not develop any sort of personality
Yeah.
whatsoever. No sense of humor, no real likes or dislikes beyond what you're trained to like or dislike through your advertising and whatnot. And
Yeah.
you know, this is the way it's always been. When I moved from the city, growing up, and I into a suburban environment, I was about 10 years old. It was the most stifling feeling I'd ever had. There was, like, when you live in the city, you just go from block to block. You can fuck off. You can
Yeah.
you can do kid stuff. There's other kids running around. There's always somebody to make fun of or look at.
Yeah.
Garbage to go through. When you're in the suburbs, there's nothing to fucking do. And
Well, I
and
mean,
then,
yeah.
well, I mean, you wind up finding things to do, and there's always a person, but there's always very few, like, dudes, dude, doodling in the background or goofing off or have a sense of humor in their ways or whatever. But I was kind of a do-gooder kid at a certain point. I got so fucking scared by everything that was happening to me. I was just
Yeah.
trying to do the right thing. I would follow the rules. It didn't occur to me that the rules were illogical until I was until I was around 15, 16. And
Yeah, but you still can't articulate that and
yeah,
convey it, buddy. That how fucked up the system is, and you can't call them out on on their bullshit because you just lack the fucking necessary tools or hardware.
listen, man, and even now, at my fucking ripe old age, I can't articulate this shit. Listen to any of these podcasts. Listen to me try to string two thoughts together.
Yeah,
It's
that's the most frustrating part is just trying to get it out and to have other people understand you, which brings me
Wow.
back to like cannibalism and like any type of like mass murderer type uh, s- character or situation.
Yeah.
Like psychoanalysis usually reveals that um, all of these people have the same common conception of being highly misunderstood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I
of
think I
course.
think that drives people fucking mad.
Well, there's another way to, get you siphoned off into the nether regions of society. Like we were talking about the algorithms just shutting you down for whatever infringement. Like, cops
Yeah,
will just pull you over just to meet their quota.
yeah.
It doesn't matter if you went over the limit. That's not what we're talking about. We're just shutting you down.
And
So
then
a
they
lot of these narratives, like serial killers or kids with mental disabilities that get a hold of firearms and things like this. These narratives just keep you from fucking acting weird. Just don't let anybody know that you're thinking something weird.
yeah.
Too late.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like I get into like all that. What is it? What is that? Minority Report or something like when they were arresting people for like thinking of fucking
Thought
crimes.
crimes. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's why they fucking did what they did to me. Maybe they fucking looked into like their crystal ball
Yeah.
and saw me snapping at some point. So they came and took all my shit away.
You know, as soon as you put the goats in the back of the truck and take them to the Lowe's, there's gonna be a fucking army of SWAT cops waiting for you. They know. They know what you're gonna do with those goats.
Yeah, they could listen. I'm not fucking hiding nothing.
I hear you.
But
I'm the same way. That's where the true power. That's where the true power lies too. Is
yeah,
not explaining anything to anyone, because just because you can explain it to someone doesn't mean they're gonna understand it. So
yeah,
it's just you just sit with it. It's like you know, it goes back to those stories that are often, misused and idolized, I guess.
Hmm.
You put a dude in a diaper bleeding from his head on a stick and you parade it around, you're constantly reminding people what you
Yeah.
do to the nice guy who follows the narrow path. That's that on an unconscious level, that's pretty fucking effective. It's like follow these rules or, suffer the
Yeah.
fucking consequences. And if they don't get you with that, they get you with the guilt. So it's like
Uh,
being a nice.
like Diego, you ever hear of Diego Garcia Island, the island of Diego Garcia?
Oh, why did I know about that? Is that where they're supposed to like fly the invisible jet? What is that story? I can't remember
Well,
that.
that's like, the Navy
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
came and fucking basically
Mil-
like told them to fucking beat it, and like they're just like, oh, we're fucking living, like we just walk into the fucking ocean and grab a fish for dinner. Like there's no
yeah,
money, nothing, peaceful fucking like utopian type society. And then
yeah,
Navy comes in and tells them they gotta leave because they need to fucking land, and then they come back and they're still there, so they fucking kill all the dogs.
yeah, yeah. That's exactly
So
it,
then
right?
the third time, by the time they fucking come back again, you got, that's
You,
gonna, you're
you
gonna
got what
meet,
you were looking for.
yeah, you're gonna meet the same fate, motherfucker.
Yeah, well,
But
they did that in Puerto Rico on that small island of Vieques. Vieques is a beautiful
but
place.
everywhere, they've done that
Well,
everywhere.
yeah, they did it in my fucking right next door to me.
Yeah,
They actually did. They actually did right next door to me.
yeah, yeah. That's all fucking
This is it, man. It's like
a
that's what the
lot of
world
history,
is, though.
a lot of history from that.
I guess that's what the world is, but I don't blame the humans.
Well, someone's got to be blamed.
Somebody started it, didn't they? I guess. I mean,
Somebody.
I think you just corral a bunch of too many organisms of any one species into a compact area. It's bound to produce violent results at a certain point.
Well,
Like
you
I
know who to
heard,
blame, right? You know who to blame. Who's to blame?
who started it?
No,
No,
it's
who's to blame?
whoever.
You.
No, it's well, whoever smelt it dealt it. You know.
Whoever smelt it dealt it.
Yeah. So this is all like self-creation. My world is being created by me, by myself. Your world is being created by you, by yourself, and
Well,
this this is what happens when worlds collide.
how do you account for the things that are happening outside of you? I mean,
Well,
for example, like the
they're
money. I
construct. It's
didn't.
all just
I
constructs. It's all mental. It's all mental prisons that and obstacles like we put in front of ourselves. And
but
you
I
know,
didn't put the financial system in front of myself.
how do you know that?
Well, I don't know. Take me to court. I'm probably gonna win.
How do you know that you didn't create this system of money and send yourself back in time and like erased your memory? It's
I
plausible.
I guess in the same way that I know anything. I mean, it's not moving the goalposts, but I mean, it's changing the rules mid game. you know,
Yeah,
it's
what's the basis or the foundation of knowing? What is
yeah,
it's there's value
you know,
level value needs to be assigned to it, you
yeah.
know.
When you're dealing with language, you got to do that.
Like,
Maybe
yeah,
that's the real
no,
motherfucker right there.
like I know that this is gonna happen, but will you bet your life on it? Like really or not?
Oh no.
Would you really bet your life on it? Like on things that that you say
It just sounds like I'm watching the CW, some fucking
What's that?
some fucking show. I don't know what is that like.
CW11?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what was that? what was that network? It just had a bunch
Warner
of bad
Brothers.
shows.
Yeah, that was the Warner.
Yeah,
Warner. Yeah, that
yeah.
was the Warner network, right?
And all the shows had that same
The
sort of
Wayne brothers. The Wayne brothers.
the Wayans Brothers network.
Show, yeah, they all had their own show on the fucking station, right?
Fucking something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then well, here we are,
Yeah.
breaking the wind again. We had
The
just had to get that out.
road less traveled.
Good God,
Well,
man, what do we?
he said anything again this time. Did we
Oh,
break it?
I don't know. We broke wind, but it feels like I just got pissed off about something. I don't know.
Oh yeah. I don't know if you got upset, but
I think
yeah.
I'm just beat up, man. I'm just beat up. I lost my energy today. No sunshine for the kid.
Yeah. So well that's
Uh,
spend a lot of the time under these artificial lights and you know yes, they are fluorescent lights, but you can get them, in certain light spectrums, and you can get them in UVA
yeah.
or UVB, and you simulate that sunlight. And that's where I kind of like do all my, I'm kind of underneath that light where that's where I work on my
Yeah,
art and
yeah.
stuff. So it's kind of like I'm simulating the outside, mm,
Yeah, I
environment.
used to get those full spectrum bulbs, and same idea. I guess an incandescent lamp, but there was
Uh,
whatever it was
uh,
made out of.
the next best step, which I'm surprised we haven't really spoke about this earlier. The binaural beats is really like my bread and butter. Like I just love zoning out with some binaural frequencies blasting and seeing what it actually does.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
you
use those.
you learn a lot that way. When you realize that you could listen to like white noise, like a bleh, but
Mm,
it's tuned a certain way where you get in the two different frequencies, and your brain
yeah,
is doing the work. Um, like if you could just listen to a white noise that just like a fucking
yeah.
washing machine, and it makes you feel like you're getting a blowjob, and you you could do a and you could hands free ejac, then I think you'll see the validity in the science.
Well, YouTube certainly made those binaural beats very popular, and
Yeah,
I've run through some of them, and I
they
can
don't.
feel I
They,
can feel
uh,
I can feel when some of them do something mellowing, and I can feel when some of them are disrupting, and
yeah,
I kind of just leave them. You know, I think taking some kind of mushroom. I guess it must have been
yeah,
whatever the mushroom du jour was back in the day when I was really exploring these things just to see what would happen. That was one of the first times I became aware that music absolutely affects your mood in the moment. I was with a group of people, and I kind of just clocked out of the group. It wasn't a group, but it was a few people, and I noticed the conversation changed when the music changed. So
yeah.
I started subtly changing the music to something that was more mellow, so people would fucking calm down. A lot
That's
of
what
people want
gotta
to,
be a good DJ. You gotta have a good DJ to fucking keep the mood.
Well, it's weird, because a lot of people, their inclination is to like turn up the party jams and things like that, and I could just see the jagged edges, coming out of that behavior,
Yeah, yeah.
and then there would be a break in the music, just like you'd be sitting in a restaurant someplace, and there'll be music in the background, and the radio will just stop, and it's dead quiet, and everybody stops talking. I love those moments, man, because everywhere you go, it's
So eerie. The eerie silence.
Yeah, man, I just love those moments where people are just fucking chilling because they're just in
Yeah.
a constant state of heightened irritation. You go to any store and they're rocking fucking uh Billy Joel. I did set the world on fire. We're burning with the world returning. And we got
Mm.
to. Hey, you're the third caller. I'm like, oh, yeah. Do you know who said the fucking thing? You say, yeah, well, I hope I got the right answer. Yeah, we hope you do too. Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. Well, you got the thing. Okay, next up, the traffic report, and it's like, oh, I'm fucking exhausted. What did I come in here for? Like,
Yeah. Well, you're a lot more animated than I am. I'm so like monotone and like I'm so. I think that's why I call myself Mumbles because it's just I have a very monotone and
you think it's
uh,
monotone? I don't
well,
know.
I mean, I get a little more excited now, and the more comfortable I become, the more colorful I'll reveal myself to be. But
How many
uh,
more episodes is this gonna take?
oh, nobody knows me.
I do, of course.
Nobody knows me because I don't even know myself. Okay.
Yeah, and I present like a more retarded person than I really am.
Yeah, well, like that's kind of like getting back with them priorities. Like, yeah, that stuff definitely really does work. But I think there has been a level. Well, I know firsthand there's been a level of censorship because some of the videos that I used to uh, have as go-tos are
Hmm.
no longer there,
Yeah, yeah,
and the
me too.
replacement. They say that they're the same, but it's not. They
I
don't
know.
work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool stuff. And these frequencies are bouncing around everywhere, and of course they're acting on you somehow. And I think like the more repetitious it is, the more likely you're gonna fall into sync with that frequency or that
Yeah,
wave
man. Well,
pattern. And
that's that's
that kind
probably
of
why
thing.
they use so much granite in the cities, and the quartz and the cement on the sidewalks probably keeps you in step, you know?
Yeah,
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 bouncing the frequencies off there. That stuff, I don't get into the fear porn of it, but certainly it's hard to deny that there's got to be a relationship between that, the sub audible, and the whatever we're immersed in.
yeah. The home, the 7.83. What is it? 783. Schumann's
Uh, yeah,
Schumann
I did a
Schumann's rep.
little investigation into where the Schumann resonance came from, but yeah, it's the right idea,
Yeah.
but
Well,
but
that's a lot of these uh, occult knowledge and occult Masonic bullshit kind of like pivots around that
yeah,
Schumann
yeah.
resonance, with the
Yeah.
32 and the 33.
Yeah,
You know.
it's you get that 66.6 degree tilt, and you get you know it's just like a lot of the, oh boy, the words are just not coming today. Who was that? Aleister Crowley? Aleister Crowley. If you uh, get in the habit of reading, which I just got rid of all that stuff a while ago, is you would read it at different points, and then you'd see where it's like a decoder ring. Once you pick up a certain pattern, something in it's like poetry. You As you're reading the sentence, you know what to neglect,
Or how to
and
pronounce a word,
yeah,
to make it rhyme.
well, basically something like that. That's the simplest base, but you pick up these clues along the way where in your equation to negate that number. Otherwise, there's a trap door built into the equation.
Yeah.
Language being the same way, you have to keep the pattern going. It was never There was too many seeds in that watermelon for me, and I
Yeah.
always found out that it always comes down to it's just me by myself with this stuff. And
Yeah, well, what else have you to do? You
yeah, I
know,
mean that's it, right? That's it. And then
I
the
mean,
satisfaction of sharing it is wonderful. Like you said earlier, um, about you just having someone acknowledge that they understand you is a it's a good feeling. Is that
yeah,
Copper?
Copper's agreeing with you.
Copper.
Yeah,
Time for one of them
I gotta get them some
eggplants.
baby oil. We need some fresh baby oil stat. I thought I was at the fucking pharmacy today too. Should have got some.
Wow, I'm having deja vu right now. Something awful.
Oh yeah. Well, it
Yeah,
happened.
man.
It
The baby oil and copper and the eggplant. maybe it's
happened.
maybe it's a flashback to an early childhood memory. Oh, this is wow. We did it. Have we ever done back to back wind breaking?
I don't really know.
It's a
Um,
weird feeling for me today.
I don't know. My weeks are every day is different for me. Regardless, like I have a few chores that I got to do every day, or like take care of the animals. Yeah, I do it every day, but I never do the same thing twice typically. And it's,
Yeah.
I never really have a schedule. So like this week, I gotta work, Friday and Saturday, but
Yeah.
uh, you know. I got to do what I got to do, and then I don't know. I guess the more you do it, like yeah, I guess it's the repetition. The more often we do it, it'll feel awkward not to do it at some point.
Well, I spent a lot of my life throwing away any sort of time obligations or scheduling and
Yeah,
promises and things like that. That was early in my life, which was the pendulum swinging hard the other direction in reaction to the way my life was structured before, and I was left to my own devices. And I basically led my life by the seat of my pants, which was, you know, crazy interesting.
yeah,
I got a lot of my best research done in those blissfully ignorant years, but now I'm starting to find the value in just a base structure of pattern. I never look at the clock, which really, well, I have a pretty good feeling of what time it is at any given moment, but
yeah,
um, those time changes, God, I hate those time changes, man, because those patterns really get set,
yeah,
and I really enjoy not having to look at a clock and
yeah,
everything. They pull the rug out from under you. But yeah,
yeah,
having a little bit of structure, it, I my meat suit appreciates the practicality of having some handlebars to
yeah,
grasp onto, because I've been in the ever changing six-dimensional tetrahedron reverso cube mirror of
yeah.
wormholes, and I like it there. But as far as getting anything done, it makes it much more difficult. I set myself back a lot. But yeah, if I had some animals and some greenery, even if it didn't have a lot of sunshine, I could
Yeah,
definitely shift into like low gear. Are you in the basement?
No, I'm in the garage right now. The pigs are in the garage rubbing on everything, trying to
Yeah.
scratch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But
All
yeah,
right. Well,
you want to break this wind now?
well, you know, it it's odd. About a half hour ago, we were supposed to get cut off, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, yeah.
And
This
you were
like
supposed to be attacked by uh, dogs from the SS, and that didn't happen.
yeah. Well, she came down, but she was. I think I tired her out earlier with
I got
playing
it.
playing fetch and frisbee. So she was a little less aggressive today. But yeah,
Well,
she did come down, man. She did come down.
well, it sounds like you better wiggle those and
Yeah, it's
let.
about that time. We get the wife just got in, so you know.
Yeah, let's clock out now and then
Yeah, all
see.
right.
Maybe we'll do some earlier ones and maybe
Yeah,
maybe
me-
an 11 a.m. sort of thing. I'd have the only thing is I have to keep an eye on the actually have to keep an eye on the clock if we do it like that. So
yeah,
if we
11s are good.
all right.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, those always seem to work for me.
All right, well we'll
Some-
try it.
Something like that number, 11 and 3. It's
Yeah.
it's like the most. Those times at night have the most amount of paranormal activity.
Yeah. Well, when that happens, I like to get under the covers, start start heating things up, if you know what I mean,
Preheat, preheat the oven.
and get ready for another breaking wind.
Yeah.
Well done, buddy.
Okay. Yeah. It's a wrap.
Yeah, that's enough.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Art noise is better than me.